Hey, you. You're finally awake.
Hello Smut Squad and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at the NES and some of the best platformers on the system that aren't necessarily Super Mario. So always, I want to hear what you think of this list and whether you disagree or you think there's ones I need to talk about. Before we go any further, if you think I deserve it, please remember to hit that like, hype and subscribe button, as well as listen to the weekly podcast and join our free Discord. It's a quick intro this time, so let's get into it. Some great platformers for the NES. Mr. Gimmick, or Gimmick, depending on how you want to pronounce it and depending on what side of the world you are. It was often seen as the swan song of the Famicom and the NES, and it was released by Sunsoft in 1992, and it really did a good job of pushing the 8-bit hardware to absolute breaking point. Now, the whole plot of Mr. Gimmick is this little girl basically gets this new toy, takes it home, and it turns out not to be a toy, but to essentially be a thing called Mr. Gimmick. But the other toys come alive, get pissed off, and take the girl back to their world. That's like a messed up Toy Story. Is that where, like, I don't know, Pixar got their thing for how Woody got pissed off because of Buzz, but instead of trying to get rid of Buzz, he decides I'm going to get rid of Andy instead? That's a bit messed up. The main gimmick of this game, see what we did there, is where our hero is able to throw a spawning star above his head. Now, like most NES games, you can see where projectiles moves in a straight line or a fixed arc. The whole thing about this star, Mr. Gimmick, it has really complex momentum and bounce physics, and you really have to master how you can throw it as a weapon, but more importantly, it's about being able to ride it essentially. You can use it to reach hidden areas and skip sections of the level. So that's pretty cool. Like, let's be honest, you got what you're seeing now in gameplay. Those physics are spot on for how the star should bounce, and I think that's amazing. Like, it is quite a difficult game and quite hard enemies to fight, but I don't care. This game's so cool, it's so fun, and that's all you want really in a video game. You start off with 2 HP, but then eventually you can get it up a little bit more, but it's still a very difficult game. And the whole point I mentioned earlier is about using that star to explore, because in each level there is a secret item that you need to find. And the problem is, if you don't go hunting and find that secret item in each level, you're gonna get the bad ending. So there are 6 levels, but if you get all secret items, you go to a 7th level. And the problem is, yeah, obviously I've just said you need to go get 6 items to unlock the 7th level. Oh no, if you use an even 1 continue, you get the bad ending. So this is a game where you are going to have to really practice and get good if you want to save that little girl from the toys, or else Woody is going to keep her in the dimension. If you were thinking anything else, you're absolutely horrific. But the gimmick of Mr. Gimmick, or Gimmick depending on where you are, is brilliant, and I said you should really give this one a go just to see how good the star-based physics are. God, I can't believe I used that as a line, but also to see how good it is considering we're right at the end of the NES's life. Street Fighter 2010. No, I'm not going to burst into a fit of laughter like I did last time, and for those of you who don't know and this is the first time you've seen my channel, go watch the video. I think it's underrated NES games or something like that, and it's got Ken Masters on the front. Just watch that episode. That was one of the funniest ones I've done for a long time. It's I think it's the only time on YouTube I've broken just talking about a game. When it comes to the podcast, that's FIFA 98 Road to World Cup. I broke. I was laughing so hard doing that. But for those who are a bit confused, this is Street Fighter? Yes, it is a Street Fighter. It is a bit of the black sheep of the family, and basically it's because Capcom really didn't know what they were doing with Street Fighter at the time. But the main problem Capcom had with this game was in marketing, because in Japan you actually play as Kevin Straker, or Straker, however you want to pronounce it. He was a cyborg policeman. However, for the North American release, Capcom decided, you know what? We're going to cash in and make it Ken Masters. Yes, it's Ken Masters. You know, the playboy billionaire, millionaire, whatever he is. He's probably a billionaire now. Millionaire back in the day, he's probably a billionaire. And he's basically decided, I'm going to stop being a fighter and a bum, and I'm going to become a retired scientist to turn myself into a cyborg. What the fuck is going on with this game? And I think I laughed so hard because the idea of him becoming a scientist. And that's not to say that people who do fight can become scientists. Of course they can. I think it's just because it's Ken Masters. It makes absolutely no sense. Also, this is in 2010. It's now 2026. I think you had way too many expectations of what you thought the future was going to be. But for those who thought we were going to be getting a fighting game, no, you are getting a very difficult platforming game. It kind of reminds me of Ninja Gaiden and all the hopping around, But unlike most platformers where you'll go from left to right, here you have to hunt down specific targets to earn enough energy to open a trans-dimensional portal. Again, this is 2010 Capcom, I don't know what you're expecting to happen at this time. But once the portal opens, you've got 10 seconds to get there or you lose a life. Now this game also has precision combat, and unlike where you think you're a ninja, no, you don't have a sword or a gun, you actually fire energy projectiles from his fists. No, it's not Hadouken, it's from his fists. And he can fire horizontally, vertically, or even diagonally by kicking, but to do that, you have to press down B to shoot diagonally. Why? It makes no sense. And again, it's got nothing to do with Street Fighter in reality apart from Ken's name. I do like to think that the idea of the final boss of this game is going to be the car from the minigame, because that would be freaking awesome. But yeah, just see it as not a Street Fighter game, because it isn't. It's just got the namesake on. Wouldn't it be cool if Ken, though, had this as a DLC skin? I think it'd be a good throwback to the system, and people are like, what the fuck's this game? And they go, oh yeah, it's Street Fighter. But it's not. I think it'll be pretty funny. I'd buy it. Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu. That just seems like such a generic name, doesn't it? And let's be honest, when it comes to the games which has a celebrity tied to it, doesn't always work. The Bruce Lee game was a pile of crap, although Mike Tyson's Punch-Out was an absolute masterpiece. And you can't thinking, what's this game going to be looking like? Well, when you look at the video I'm showing here, it looks pretty good. It has that chibi art style, which is always going to be a win here. Like, Jackie, it is Jackie. It doesn't look like Jackie Chan, let's be honest. Like, you can put other stereotypical comments in here that doesn't basically say that is Jackie Chan. Like, he does look incredibly animated. And when he takes damage, his eyes bug out, and when he's idle, he looks determined like he wants to fight. But rather than being an adventure about modern-day Jackie Chan, this kind of feels like it's set in a movie in China about Jackie Chan. As for the visuals, again, I've just said the sprites are really cool. The colours are fantastic. Like, the boss fights are massive as well, and they do unfortunately suffer for a bit of flickerage, but that's not really the game's fault, that's more the console basically crumbling in the weight of what they're asking it to do. And the combat's also surprisingly deep for a 2-button controller. Like, you've got a charge attack by holding down the attack button, you've also got special moves you can find, like a 180 and a 360 spin kick, which is cool, a tornado attack, and a sky attack. And that's pretty good. The soundtrack is also awesome as well. This is one of the best soundtracks on the Absolute System. This is so cool. I think one important thing to talk about, as this was a late era game for the NES, we're kind of moving away from that idea of being NES hard, because you don't want to basically complete them in a single rental, well Nintendo didn't. But Jackie Chan is much more forgiving, like you've got a 6-segment life bar and multiple continues. And you can also find these bells that transport you to the bonus levels, and doing well here earns you extra lives and health refills, and that makes the game feel more rewarding than purely just trying to hate you just for the sake of Disney wants your money. But either way, considering Jackie Chan probably went, yeah, nah, just put my name on it, it's a really good game and really should be put up there with the Mike Tysons of this world. Holy Diver. And yes, before anyone is thinking, Holy Diver, yeah, it is meant to be referencing that. It's essentially a love letter to the 1980s metal scene, as the title itself is a nod to Ronnie James Dio, and I'm pretty sure the protagonist, who's called Randy, is Dio. It looks exactly like him. But Randy is arguably named after Randy Rhoads, who is Ozzy Osbourne's legendary guitarist. But the story itself involves King James and his sons Ronnie and Randy battling against the Black Slayer. The visuals itself are very dark, gothic and grotesque, and you could say that they've been inspired by metal album covers. I'm constantly thinking it just basically looks like Castlevania. Okay, yes, it does have that love letter to the 1980s scene at the just names level, but when it comes to the gameplay itself, no, he's not going to be whipping out a guitar or anything, he doesn't even have a whip. He's a mage who fires energy blasts. Yeah, so that doesn't really happen in 1980s metal scene. But like Castlevania, this game is hard as balls! Yes, even probably one of the hardest games in the 8-bit library. The enemy spawns are incredible. Like, they will come out of absolutely nowhere, and the idea is that they are there to knock you into pits or interrupt your jumps. And if you do even this little pixel of going back a stage and then forward one, they come back. It's Ninja Gaiden level of spawning, and it's absolutely horrific. If you've played Ninja Gaiden and know what I mean about those goddamn freaking birds, this is up there and it is insane. You knock back as well like Castlevania, but Castlevania I could say is somewhat forgiving. This is like they knock you 10 feet backwards and just expect you to fall into a pit. I want to say it's a bad game, it's a good game, it's just hard. Like, the stages are long and there's hardly any checkpoints. and it's in fact the lava-filled stage 4 which is notorious for being that wall that stops many players in their tracks. So if you've beaten this game, legitimately, let me know in the comments below, because you can basically put your hand up and say yes, you are a god gamer if you can do that. But Randy can fight back. He's got a double shot for wider coverage, he can freeze water and enemies, allowing platforming over previously impassable areas, a high damage blast for boss fights, and he can even turn into a goddamn dragon! Although that uses a lot of MP, but it possibly means nothing if the gameplay is so goddamn hard. And unfortunately, the music is a bit lackluster. Whilst it's okay as a soundtrack, it doesn't have that influence of the 1980s, and that would have made it the perfect game. But unfortunately, it can't be there. But if you do like Castlevania, this is definitely a good game for you. Tiny Toons Adventures 2: Trouble in Wacky Land. Now, whilst the first Tiny Toons Adventures on the NES was a classic linear platformer and kind of a Super Mario Bros. 3 clone, this basically took a complete different direction and essentially became a theme park simulator with 5 mini-games, each pushing the console into limits in different ways. So, you basically are dropped into Wacky Land, and you've got a limited number of tickets, and you've got to pay for 4 different attractions. And each different attraction has the different characters you can play with. So Babs Bunny, who I love Babs Bunny, she's awesome. She does a roller coaster, which is like a high-speed, side-scrolling survival level, and you've got to jump, duck, dodge, dive, dodge, and dodge. I can't remember them all. But you've got to do that on the roller coaster. It doesn't look like the safest roller coaster. I don't imagine it would pass any work health and safety, as you're seeing in the video here. I believe it'd be shut down immediately, but hey ho, you need to do that to avoid obstacles. Plucky Duck is essentially doing bumper cars, where it's a top-down arena game where you've got to knock your enemies into the central hole. And it kind of feels like you're the sumo. It's like sumo people into the hole. And that's all it is. You've got Hampton J. Pig, who's on a train, and this is a more traditional side-scrolling level, but it's another auto-scroller, and you've got a belly flop and avoid signs while the screen's constantly pushing you forward. Although, essentially, he belly flop, using his belly, I don't know, I think he's using his penis. He looks like he's thrusting with his cock. So, that's disgraceful. And the final one is similar to the roller coaster, but you're on water. And this features Furball, and it's kind of like Flappy Bird style navigation, before that was even a thing. And that is a little slower, so it's probably easier than the roller coaster one. But each time you enter a ride, it costs tickets. And if you run out of tickets before you earn the golden ticket by beating all the rides, you get a game over. Which means if you're struggling with the roller coaster level, you can essentially go broke and have to restart the entire game. So to get more tickets, you've got to grind for points in the rides you're good at, and then trade them in at the ticket booth. Now, what I think was quite good about this game, this goes back again to what I was saying about Jackie Chan, is this game was far more forgiving. So to get into the final boss, which is the final mini-game, which is where you play as Buster Bunny against Montana Max's Funhouse, you can do it either 2 ways. Either 1, winning the 4 mini-games and getting the 4 golden tickets, or you can just play the mini-game that you're really good at. So if you're really good at the roller coaster one but rubbish at the others, you can just play the roller coaster one and again and again and again until you get 50 tickets, and then you can go through to Montana Max's Funhouse. And I think that's pretty cool, because it's not completely balls hard and it's not trying to screw you over, it's trying to be a little bit more fair. And I think that's a really cool way for those who struggle to be able to see the whole game. As for the game itself and its graphics, it looks great. It plays great, you can see the speed that Babs is going on that roller coaster and doesn't seem to have any problems playing and is really responsive. I just think it's a shame we don't get more Tiny Toons games, because let's be honest, the Tiny Toons are awesome. But I think the best Tiny Toons game, if not the best sports game of all time, is Acme All-Stars on the Sega Mega Drive. Don't believe me? Fight me in the comments and we'll see who wins. Little Nemo the Dream Master. This was developed by Capcom at the height of the 8-bit powers, and it's often remembered for its unique hijacking mechanic that predates Kirby's Adventure. It'd be wondering if Sakurai stole this. I don't know. Nemo himself is actually relatively weak. His only weapon is throwing candy to stun enemies. What? What? We're going to throw sweets at our enemies. How the hell does that work? That is ridiculous. If I was a grown man throwing sweets at people, I would be arrested. They would say he is a PDF file, get him away, now. It's a terrible thing. And considering I had hiccups here last night and she was vomiting everywhere because she ate too many sweets because it's Easter, well, that just seems it's a bad idea. But here, if you throw sweets or candy, however you want to say it around the world, to friendly animals, that's pretty good. Because once they eat enough and fall asleep, you can effectively jump on them and wear them to gain their abilities. That's messed up. I don't care what anyone says, that's really messed up. You get their skin? Ah, that's weird. But either way, there are multiple animals you can choose from. A frog, which allows for high jumps and swimming, and you can also belly flop enemies. The gorilla, essentially for climbing trees and punching enemies. The mole, which lets you dig through specific sections of soil to find hidden items. The bee, which grants limited flight, which is flat-based, and a stinger attack. And the mouse, which can climb walls and use a mallet to break obstacles, because of course, all mice just have mallets just hidden around they can just use. Now the whole point of this game is that you're not running from left to right. Every level is really large, it's a non-linear environment, and the goal is to find a specific number of keys to unlock the exit door. Oh, this sounds very much like Street Fighter 2010. But this turns the game into a platforming puzzle. You're going to see a key high up on a ledge and then think, how the hell do I have to get it? Maybe I need to get the bee, maybe I need to get a lizard, maybe I need to get another sort of animal to get up there. But because the levels are large and they're also filled with respawning enemies, missing a key at the end of the stage often means a long, dangerous trek back through the level, and I love the fact when you have to fight respawning enemies. The visuals are great here. Capcom's colour palette here gave the Sunderland a dreamy look that was very different when you look at the other games we talked about of Holy Diver and Street Fighter 2010. And the game does lure you in with that cute, childlike atmosphere, but the final third is notoriously difficult. Like in the final world, Nightmare Land, Nemo finally gets a weapon, the Morning Star Scepter. Hang on, this is definitely sounding like bloody Kirby, doesn't it? Kirby has a Star Scepter, doesn't he? Thing, whatever Kirby is. But the late levels are also packed with instant death spikes and precision jumps. That means you've got to master these controls and know exactly what you're doing or you're screwed. But this is a perfect example of one of those rental trap games I was talking about. Like, it looks adorable on the box, but when you get it home, you realise, oh my god, this game is so hard. So yeah, this was the NES hard games we were talking about back in the day. And I hate those sort of games because, well, I just have to try and do them, so I will get past your level 3, level 4, level 5. I will fight all the challenges you do. You do not control me, Disney. I have save states. And finally, Conquest of the Crystal Palace. This was made by Quest, and this was the team that later created the legendary Ogre Battle and Tactics Ogre series. And that's pretty cool, because I love Tactics Ogre. Tactics Ogre, the one on the PSP, Super Nintendo, and it's just had a remake, is one of my favourite games of all time. So of course, if Quest make a game, I want to have a look at it. Now you start the game, you're given a choice that fundamentally changes how you play, and you choose one of 3 magical crystals to aid your character, Farron. From either a flight crystal, now that increases your jump height, making platforming easier, a life crystal that doubles your maximum health, turning you into a tank, or a spirit crystal that gives you a powerful unlimited fireball attack. But as you go through the game, you actually can pick up the other ones, but it's still cool to have that replayability for how you tackled the earlier first bits of the level. Now, long before Mega Man had Rush, Farron had Zap. And Zap isn't just a background character, you could summon him, and he comes to battle. And he comes at any time and he'll basically dash across the screen and rip someone's leg off. You can't just abuse the feature by having him rip people's legs off, because that'd be fun. Because he's got his own health bar, and if he takes too much damage, he retreats, and you have to find Zap Chow or visit a shop to bring him back. So you have to look after your doggo. So you need to really look at Zap's health, because if you've got difficult enemy sections where you really need the dog to go in there and do that, you think, I need to look after this. I can't just willy-nilly throw him into battles, because you've got to look after him. Now within this game there's also hidden areas, and there's a secret area where there's a hidden boss and you actually meet the princess and get new attacks. The problem is, there's no hint to this. Oh, there is an instruction manual? Well, I don't have the instruction manual, so screw that. That's ridiculous. Now, as we can see, the game looks really good, but Stage 3 is famous for its disturbing imagery. Now, in the original version, the Japanese version, this level featured giant floating baby heads. So the North Americans went, no, can't have that. So these were changed into writhing biomass and insect-like creatures to avoid the controversy, but it still remains one of the most atmospheric and unsettling moments on the system. And that's it. Some fantastic NES platformers that aren't Mario. Let me know what you think of this list and let me know what you think of this video. As always, if you do think I deserve it, please hit that like and hype button and subscribe for more content. I'll see you all again in a few days. I hope you've all had a good Easter. You all take care of yourself. My name's been Danny. Follow your dreams.